Good morning, everybody, and welcome to this third webinar in our series of using our CRM system at Quartz. My name is Rebecca Gooch. I'm the Director of Quality Training and Development here at NCC Education. And today we will be discussing results and sample moderation submission. So just as a caveat to the start of this, any information that you see on the screen is fake. There are no real centres or real names used in this demonstration. This is a test service, so everything you'll see here is a demonstration service, but it will be replicated onto our live service for you as well. So thank you very much for joining this morning. We will get started in just one moment. And I will just share my screen. So this morning, just then, what we will be discussing is result submission, moderation, and the guidance in which you will be able to access to help you do this. So the aim of this session to look at submitting results for global assignments, ELS and DELS, and submitting the samples for moderation for winter 2023. So what has changed? So previously, excuse me, you will have to submit MSFs via email. That is no longer necessary. Everything will be done on Quartz. All results will be submitted via Quartz, and your moderation samples will also be submitted via Quartz and not the VLE. The VLE area in which you previously submitted samples will be turned off, so you won't be able to accidentally go into the VLE and submit any samples. Everything will be done via Quartz. So the submission window opens on the 25th of October, in which I will go over the process in how to do that in just a moment. Result submission and moderation sample deadline is the 13th of November, 11:59 p.m. UK time. If from now until the deadline, if you have any extension request for this process, this needs to be applied via our centre request in advance, unless it's a unforeseen circumstance as part of our requirements of looking at the categories of extensions. We need to know as soon as possible if you require an extension. Please don't wait until after the deadline. Because this is also counted as maladministration. We understand things happen, and we understand that unforeseen circumstances happen also, and we are here to support you. But if you do need an extension, please look at the process, make sure you have adhered to the categories in which those extensions can be applied, and let us know in advance. That'd be greatly appreciated. Also, please don't wait until 11:58 to submit your moderations. We want to make sure that if there are any technical difficulties, which we're positive there won't be, that we can resolve them for you as quickly and as efficiently as possible. So how will you do that? So when you log on to Quartz, you'll see your homepage. One of the very first things to do is submit your results to let us know, obviously for each global assignment or ELS and DELS, what that student has received. So you will go to cohorts. You will search for your winter cycle where you have registered students, and on your screen you'll be able to see that for the number of registrations, and you will have already enrolled those students into the winter 2023 cycle. You select the cohort in which you want to submit results, which will take you to this page. And there are a few checks that you're able to do at this point. Firstly, you can see all the students that are in this cohort. These little numbers here indicate what components they are registered for, and you can actually go into the learner and check that as well. That should have already been completed through our registration process. If you identify in the next 2 weeks that there are issues with registrations or there is a component missing, then you need to ensure this is done as soon as possible, and this may incur charges if it's after the registration deadline. So there's a couple of things here that we need to be aware of. You can enter results via this button here, via unit. So if you have particular markers that are taken in a particular unit for the same cohort, they check the component and they can put their marks in here. You can also enter results via individual learner for a multitude of components in which they are registered. So for example here, for Connor, this individual student has got multiple students multiple components in which they are registered for. And I'll give a quick demonstration on that in just a moment. One of the very first things that you need to do is let us know for attendance purposes if that student has attempted that assignment. So same as exams, what you'll need to do is go to attendance. You will then see a list of obviously global examinations, global assignments. You select the component, and for each of these learners, you will select whether they're present, absent, or they've been deferred, or the category here. What we noticed in the global examinations, some centres were keeping the status as registered. That doesn't tell us whether or not that student has attempted or is being submitted for that component. So please do not leave these statuses as registered. We've identified that in the global examination submission, and we've addressed that with the centres that have submitted. So please don't leave it as registered. We need to know if that student has been present, absent, or whether they have been deferred or withdrawn, for example, or whether they have been cancelled. So that's the very first thing to do, is to confirm the attendance for that global assignment, for that particular learner. The next thing to do is obviously enter their results. So I'll give an example for a particular learner. So let's take Robert, for example. At the moment, Robert has no details in for these particular components. So here, if we type in a 45 for Robert, when we process this, we then see that they are here as a 45, and this is automatically generated for our grade boundaries. You'll see additional comments here when you come to go live, and that will tell us if any additional or adjustments have been made for that particular learner, if they haven't already been made. You must select a marker. Okay, that's really important. So when you select a marker, you will then do that here. This will turn green when it's in your basket, and explain what that means in just a second. Okay, so you press save to basket. That will then be uploaded, and you'll see here you've got some results here to process. You need to do this either via learner or via unit, and you enter the results for each component for each learner that have taken them. If you then go to your basket, you'll see a collection of results that you've already put in there. So what you'll see is learner ID, learner name. The unit ID is internal to us. So if you see that these have changed, please don't worry, because these are our unit ID codes. You will see the unit title, the level. The RITS is also internal, so please don't worry about that. And additional codes for us. You'll see the cohort. And here's the really important thing. You must ensure that the mark is correct. You must ensure there's a marker to it, and any additional comments will also appear here too. So once those have been checked by yourself, and what I would recommend is that once you've submitted your results, maybe have a second person go over to make sure that what you're inputting is accurate and correct, because once these are processed, you will not be able to amend them. If you do enter an incorrect result, that is also classed as a maladministration case, and sanctions will be applied once the results release, if that has happened. Once you've got all the results here, when you press submit, you are then prompted to confirm that you are entering these results, and you will submit, confirm submission. This will then tell you that a set of results have been submitted, and you will get an email confirmation with a date and time stamp. And that's really important. So we will know that you've submitted results for moderation, and you'll also get a confirmation email in case any technical difficulties happen. You're able to say, well, I did submit them, and this is my confirmation email. So that's your results. So that's confirming your attendance for those specific examination assignments, and also submitting your results either via learner or via unit, whichever tutor or centre administrator is submitting them. The next phase to this is sample submission of your moderation samples. Okay, I do see a hand up at the moment, just to confirm. If you've got any questions, please put them in the chat, or please put them in the Q&A, and we will answer these questions after the webinar has finished. If it's really urgent, please contact your customer support executive. So the next thing now is, how do you submit your samples? When you go to sample moderation submission on your homepage, you will see in here that this has already been set up per moderation, per component, centre and also sites. So if you are multi-site delivery, you will see the specific sites for those components for those particular learners of a sample of learners as well. So this will already be populated for you, and this will be based on the registrations that you've submitted for winter 2023. What's really important and what's really useful about this page is you can see here that these two components have different statuses. And what that means is that they're in different stage of the sample moderation submission process. For example, this stage here is on the first question of the plagiarism questionnaire, and this one here is ready for sample submission. So what you're able to see at the end goal is that you will see here, it'll say sample submitted. Okay, and that's really important that all these statuses say sample submitted. If it doesn't, it means that you haven't completed the whole process, and you need to make sure that this is completed and we know that that has been uploaded. What's really good here as well is that you'll be able to track and monitor the process. We won't tell you obviously details around moderation, but we're able to update you around the process as well. So let's take the first component here, ready for sample moderation. So what will happen here is that you will answer every question for the plagiarism survey. At this point, you will not be able to upload your samples unless you have answered all the questions with regards to the plagiarism survey, as you did on the VLE. Okay, and you'll be prompted with questions and specific examples on how to answer those questions. So for example, in this phase here, I've put yes, that there has been some plagiarism that has occurred in this particular sample, and I put the detail in here. Once you select confirm, that will all be here and it'll stay there. That will notify us and also notify the moderator that you have suspected and you've dealt with misconduct and this has been submitted. So as you go through the questions, you will have prompts and examples on how to answer those questions as you would have on the VLE. It's it's the same questions as the VLE, nothing has changed, but you will not be able to upload unless those have been answered. When you are ready to upload your sample, you will select Upload Document. From here, you will select the moderation sample submission for winter 2023, and you will select the corresponding component. Obviously, this will be an extensive list of the components that you are submitting, so it's really important to check that you are submitting the right samples for the right component. Also within this guide, you will see, once again, as on the VLE and our moderation guide with our academic regulations, you will see the correct number of samples for your moderation size. That is really, really important. So, for example, if you are expected to submit 6 samples for one component, you must submit 6. We have quite many cases in the past where centres have only submitted 4 or 5. That is also maladministration. So you must make sure that you submit the correct number of samples that should be submitted as part of this moderation for this component. You can also add any notes that you would like. It may be that you have made some additional adjustments that we may not know about, but you must be able to put them in there if necessary. You then select your file and upload as you would have done for the global examinations. What then happens, this appears here for the document upload. You are then prompted to submit your confirmation that you've submitted everything for that moderation sample. Once that's completed, that is your moderation sample submitted to us. We then take that moderation sample and begin our moderation process. So just to have a bit of a recap there, what we need to do first is confirm attendance and result submission, either per learner or unit. You then go into sample moderation submission, follow the steps and the questions for each component that is already pre-populated for you. You then confirm that you've submitted everything for that moderation in line with the checklists that are provided. Once you have done that, you will submit it, and then that confirms that you have completed that process. And you'll see the status here that that component has been submitted with that status. And that is basically the overall process for result submission and moderation. So Just to recap as well, it opens on the 25th of October. The deadline is the 13th of November, 11:59 p.m. UK time. Some further reminders here for you as well. So these checklists have always been present. They will appear also in the questions and the guides on Quartz itself, but they will also be uploaded to our PDF guides that will be available from Friday on results submission and moderation on our website in the support hub. So this is just a reminder that everything on this checklist needs to be completed. So anything from a missing return it in report or a missing chief invigilator report or seating plan, if there is anything missing, that constitutes a maladministration. So it's really important that you do your due diligence as a centre before submitting anything, that everything is there. We appreciate that there may be some human error on rare occurrences, but it's really important that you check this before submission. As you know, in our maladministration and malpractice policy, any further incidents on maladministration can incur sanctions. So it's really important that you check this before submitting. One thing to point out with regards to markers, it's really important that your contact manager, and you can see the icon there on your homepage of what you will see, it's really, really important that this is up to date. The markers will be taken from this contact manager to appear in the drop-down list. So it's really, really important that your contact manager is up to date. If you have new tutors or new markers that have recently been employed at your centre, you must update contact manager, add in their teaching appendices and their CV, so we can check and confirm that they are allowed to deliver and mark our qualifications. It's really important that we get this information and this is up to date from yourself. So please, can all centre administrators make sure that this contact manager is complete and it is up to date. If there are any individuals that should not be showing in this contact manager, then again, please remove them. That is completely up to yourself to manage that area as well. Just a reminder with regards to extensions, it's really important, as I said previously, that you must let us know as early as possible if there is going to be an issue with results submission or moderation, and that's from a centre perspective or individual student perspective. If you need to apply for exemptions or extensions or special consideration, that is completed through our centre request icon on the home page, and you will follow the steps and questions related to that centre request. It's really important that you let us know as soon as possible, because what we need to do is consider that extension or that request and apply our parameters around that to let you know if that is not approved or not. So it's really important that you let us know as the earliest possible point. So what are the next steps from here? So after result submission, moderation, and when that process is completed, we will release in guidance and notes on results release and e-certification, where these will be, how to access them, how to look at them, and also how to present them to your students. Guides will be sent over to all centres and uploaded onto our support hub for centres by the 20th of October. In the meantime, if you have any training needs, please contact your CSE for support with regards to any aspect of Quartz. So that could be registrations, learner amendments, any changes that need to be made, and the CSE team and your particular CSE can help you do that as quickly and efficiently as possible. Just a reminder as well, we do have access to our support hub where these webinars are to be accessed along with guides, and this is currently being also updated with tutorials and videos for all centres to be able to share with their teams. That concludes today's webinar. Thank you very, very much for joining me this morning in the UK. I wish you a productive rest of the week, and thank you very much for joining. Bye.